We're here once again in Cocodrie, reporting to you for Tri-Parish News.
For over 40 years, I, along with my team, have had the distinct pleasure of archiving special events and special people in our area. When I was a young reporter, I never realized how important those seemingly routine interviews would become. And as we have made our journey through the television industry, the most important memories to us have been captured through the lens of a camera and a microphone. We just want to say thank you. Thank you to all of those who have given us our start and continue to support us 40 years into our great journey. When you signed on back then and still today, you are helping preserve the precious moments that will be archived for future generations. It's been a joy, and we thank you here at HTV. HTV, preserving the past and moving into the future.
First off, I'd like to welcome everyone to this great event. Sure appreciate you guys coming out in the heat. Thank you, Angela, for getting an air-conditioned tent. This is a good day. And I guess what we'll do, we'll start with the invocation with the Very Reverend Simon Peter.
Let us humble ourselves in the presence of God. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the gift of this day and for the many blessings that you have bestowed upon us. We thank you for the gift of our state of Louisiana and all the good people who call this place home. We ask your blessing upon us today, that we may always remain safe from all harm. We ask your blessing upon all those who work tirelessly to protect our state from erosion, storm, and all threats of nature. We ask that the work that is underway for the protection of your people will be brought to a fruitful completion by your faithful guidance. Keep us always aware of your presence with us in all that we do. We ask all this through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you. All right. Presentation of colors. Police honor guard.
On guard. What the? Over. Walk time. On guard. Live. Breathe in. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Order. Halt. Halt. Oh, bird. Oh.
All right. And look, I missed Mr. Sue Henry here, Korean War veteran, that we usually allow to say the pledge for us. I think we kind of went off track a little bit. And I just wanted to recognize Mr. Sue. He was our first appointed levy board. He was our first appointed levy board a member appointed by Mr. Chabert that he met in the South Pacific. When he was trying to come home and Mr. Chabert was gone, he said he heard somebody talking, and you were stuck at trying to get back because you had lost your vaccination card after coming out of a fierce battle, and ran into Mr. Chabert, who was just getting there, and he heard him talking, and he walked up to him and said, "What part of Lafourche you from?" And he's been with us. He'll be 94 here shortly, and he's been the heart and soul of our levy board, and the things he's done for this parish and for this country can never be repaid. All right, moving on. Everybody want to take a seat? Okay. Let me recognize some of the folks that are here. Sure appreciate, again, everybody coming out in this heat. Of course, our governor, Honorable Jeff Landry, and his boss, Sharon, the First Lady. Christian Bergeron representing Garrett Graves' office. Christian. Peyton Harvey representing Speaker Mike Johnson's office. State delegates, Senator Mike Fessy, Representative Jerome Durang, Representative Beryl Amity, Representative Jessica Domingue, and Representative Joe Anjon. CPRA Director, Chairman Gordon Dove. The Director, Glenn Leday. Project Manager, James McManus. Program Manager, Jazz Singh. Restore Council, Mary Walker, Executive Director. Corps of Engineers, Colonel Cullen Jones, Commander. Lacey Shaw, hey Lacey, the Project Manager. Duran, Elsie. Terrebonne Levy and Conservation District Board of Commissioners, Sue Henry. Introduced you already, right? Jack Moore. Dan Davis. Carl Chauvin. Tanner Shinak. Our new Executive Director, Angela Hidalgo. Greg Gautreaux. Trey Middleton. Program Manager Mitch Mormon. And of course, Reggie Dupre. Good to have you, Reggie. Boy, they like you, Reggie. You heard that applause? Let's see. Okay. Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government Parish President, Jason Bedron. Jason. Chief Administrator, Noah Lerat. Council members, Kevin Champagne, Clyde Hamner, Danny Babin, Lafourche Parish, Dwayne Bourgeois, North Lafourche Levy District. St. Charles Parish President, Matt Jewell, also CPRA member. Contractors and engineering firms for this project. Richard Raw, Sea Level. Thank you for stepping up, Richard. Justin Lane, Sea Level. Aptum, T. Baker Smith, GIS Engineering, Tetra Tech, Delta Coast Consultants, and let's see, am I missing anybody? Of course, the sheriff. Got the sheriff, Tim Saunier, and Simon Peter. Reverend, I was going to try to say that last name, but they told me just to say Simon Peter. Huh? Oh, John Amade. John. Always miss you for some reason. Where you at, John? Sorry, man. You're quiet. Chief Travis Terrio, Houma Police. Major Brent Hidalgo. Lieutenant Dakota Fitch. Martin Falls. Martin, they got you on the list. That's pretty good. David Rabelais, Port Director. Stephen Bergeron. Ronnie Bergeron. All right, and Jay Walker, President of MAC. All right, I think we got, if we didn't get everybody, please raise your hand. And Kim Chauvin. I have my director. He directs me now who I missed. Jack, did I get you? I got Jack, didn't I? All right, man. All right. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. So here we go. So, my kids, first off, I'd like to recognize my mom and dad, my wife, my children, Mr. Dickey, Miss Merle. We got everybody on the front row, her sisters. It's good to have all you here. Atlanta, you got them all lined up. They made it over here okay. All right. So my kids always tell me I have to do an icebreaker. Governor's word. I told him it was a joke, and he's worried I was going to say something maybe inappropriate. It is a good joke. All right?
Not with father.
Not with the father. Father, it's good. He cleared it. So anyway, no, this is what happens. So there's a lake. If you go down here, Grand Caillou Floodgate, there's a lake called Dog Lake out here. We used to fish it when we were kids, right? That lake is very famous. It is where the infamous Boudreaux, the outlaw, got caught by Thibodeau, the game warden. And Thibodeau been chasing Boudreaux forever. Cannot catch Boudreaux. Boudreaux pulls a fast one. Thibodeau's crawling in the marsh. Everything else trying to catch him. Can't ever catch Boudreaux. So sure enough, man, Thibodeau says, I'm going to come up. I got a good plan. Boudreaux dances all the time at this club. I'm going to go make friends with him. And, we become friends. He's going to invite me. I'm going to catch him. Sure enough, Thibodeau goes to Yesterday's bar. And they having a good time, drinking and everything. And, boy, sure enough, Boudreaux becomes good friends with Thibodeau. He says, come on, man, we're going fishing tomorrow. Thibodeau's like, all right, yeah, let's go fishing. So sure enough, they show up. Boudreaux's got his little flat bottom boat. And they get in the flat bottom, and they take off, and they go to Dog Lake. They got one of them little outboards, and so Boudreaux stops the boat in the middle of the lake. He reaches between his legs in the little cabinet, grabs a stick of dynamite, lights it up, and throws it overboard. Boom! Well, fish are floating everywhere. Thibodeau says, I finally got you. After all these years, I've been chasing you. I finally got you. Boudreaux reaches between his legs. He grabs out another stick of dynamite, lights it up. He pitches it to Thibodeau, said, "You gonna talk or you gonna fish?" I've told that joke 50 times. I told Mitch and them, just bear it, please. All right, our special guest, our first special guest, let me say this. Gordy and I are honored to now, of course, we're in a bigger sandbox, to have the governor's blessing for Gordy to take his position with the CPRA and for me to be able to serve on it. We've done some great things here in Terrebonne Parish, and we'll continue to do things like we're looking at out here. And the first time I brought up Gordy and I talked about me, I'm going to leave one of the expletives off, but the first thing he says is, "You guys are not going to bring all the money to Terrebonne and Lafourche." and we are not. We've got projects all up and down the coast of Louisiana going on right now. You know, some of the things that we always knew with this levee system, we had to put rocks to protect the barrier islands. We had to do things along those lines that we didn't know that would ever take place. We never thought that we would live long enough to see this lock put in place, right, Gordy? And I got to be careful how I say that because it's not built, and we have not lived long enough to see it complete yet. But it is in progress. So we're real excited about that. This guy, since we started, I noticed a few things about him, and I always call a spade a spade. When the governor consults us and possibly tells us to do this or do that, he doesn't tell us to go handle it. He basically says, "I'll jump out in front of that bus if anybody asks who wants to do this or wants to make this happen. He'll take the blame that he caused it to happen or made it happen." And I am proud to work with somebody like that doesn't just tell you to go do something without backup. And I'm proud to serve along with this governor. And so with that, our honorable governor of the state of Louisiana, Jeff Landry.
Thank you. Yeah, y'all see it. Tony, I really appreciate, Boudreaux's a pretty fun-loving fella. Is normally found in bars. It's the Landrys that normally were out there shooting things they wasn't supposed to. So I appreciate you omitting me from that joke. And I won't say that I know a thing or two about fishing with dynamite either. But I certainly want to recognize a few folks. I know that some of them that are not here. I know we recognize a few folks from the congressional delegation, but I can tell you, Senator Kennedy, Senator Cassidy, both would have loved to have been here. They have been great to work with in the Senate. I know we mentioned Steve Scalise. We've got the Speaker of the House now. We are hoping that we keep him. That will be a huge, huge asset for Louisiana. Congressman Higgins, Congressman Letlow, Troy Carter, all of them have been an integral part of helping us maintain and retain and protect our coast. And I want to say, I love coming out here. I mean, Sharon, I'm telling you, it's one of my favorite places. I never forget when I first started running for Congress and folks would ask me how they thought that I could win. I said, well, first I need 12. That's what Jesus started with, right, Father? I said, I found 12 women and we were on the march. They were actually from Lafourche. But I tell you, I'll never forget representing people all along this coast and how important these projects are. And so I have watched CPRA in action since that particular time. And I've watched Tony and Gordy and many, I could go down the list that he named right here. And these are people that care as much about their community and their country and their coast as I've ever seen. They are absolutely committed to seeing these kinds of projects put in place. And for far too long, I have seen, it seems that we've been shovel ready, but without any shovels. And I committed to the people of this area and the people along the entire coast, from Cameron all the way down to St. Bernard, that we are finally going to start turning some dirt. And today we start. And Tony says that. I told him, I said, y'all can pick one project. I didn't tell you y'all could do it first, right? But in all seriousness, there is not a group of people that understand how to fix this coast than the people in Terrebonne and Lafourche Parish. Y'all were the first people, before there was a SIPR, to tax yourselves, to recognize the dangers that the Gulf and the storms presented to your communities. You did that before anyone else. You were out there before anyone else. And so because of that kind of stuff, Mr. Sue, I can tell you, I'm glad you're here. Because I know that a lot of folks that start like you and say some things like, I don't know if I'll ever see some of these projects done. Well, I can tell you what, United 4, they said, don't you worry. You give us at least over 100 and you're going to see plenty. You are. And you're going to see, and you know what? Y'all need to bring him to all the other projects too. Don't just keep him here. We'll take him around with us. And I've explained, I remember going back to Iberia and explaining to the people there how y'all have taxed yourselves, how you never give up, how you understand what it takes. And look, all we have to do is think about the last few storms and think about the protection that y'all have put in place, the things that y'all said would work, that worked, right? Think about it. Look, we are here today to prove that we can do environmental projects, and those environmental projects can be flood control projects, can be hurricane protection projects. They all can be one, and we appreciate the Corps' participation in that as well. Colonel, I'll tell you that, to me, this checks all of the boxes. And when you do a project like that, quite frankly, and I know it's not your fault, we should have some extremely expedited permitting on that when we check in all of those particular boxes off. But what we are proving is that, again, you can do environmental projects, you can do hurricane protection, you can do flood control. And here's the most important part. While this project protects the communities north of it, it also keeps the economic viability of the region sound. That's extremely important. Sometimes that's hard to miss. Look, if all we do is coastal protection and we don't think about hurricane protection, we don't think about flood protection, then that's fine. We'll get the coast built, we'll protect some communities. But if there are no jobs, if there's no economic viability in the area, then what good have we done? And how have we preserved our way of life that the people around this whole country love more than anywhere else? Everywhere I go around the country, people love to come down here. Why? Because they love you. And I will tell you, I tell them all the time, the greatest natural resource we have in this state are you. It really is. And so I cannot be more proud of what the SIPR team and the Corps and the Restore. I have to thank the Restore Council, right? That's where we got the money. Where y'all at? Raise your hands. Thank you. Thank you so very much. We really do appreciate it. I think it's important to recognize those that believe in the projects enough to place the money where their mouth is and say, hey, look, we can get it done. And then lastly, I'll just say, if you do not believe, Father, I don't know if you talked to the good Lord this morning, but having that ship pass right through shows you exactly why we are here today. And so I'm just here to say thank you. Shannon and I are here to just see some great friendly faces that we haven't seen in a long time. And also know that we will continue to be committed to the people of South Louisiana and along this coast. And over the next 4 years, you can get your bags. Now, you might not do it in Terrebonne. You might have to go to Lafourche, to St. Bernard, St. Charles. Where's the tallest parish president? Look, see that? We come into a parish near you as well. We'll be right in your parish. But please, again, I think it's important that you actually get to see your tax money not only your local tax money, but your state and federal tax money at work. So Tony, Gardy, thank you so very much. Thank all of y'all. God bless you.
All right, just a few words. I think most of you guys know what this project is going to do. This project is the linchpin of the entire system and everything we've worked on building. The Gulf is right there. The salt water has been pouring in this canal and going to Houma. And if you get in a boat and you go to Houma with a boat, you'll see all those dead cypress trees on the side of the canal, and the canal expanding and just eroding, and it's pretty relentless. It's amazing. I thought they were embellishing it at one time until you get in a boat and you actually go look at that. This project will stop that from happening. At the same time, the fresh water that comes out of the intercoastal just flushes through this parish in an open gate and just flushes out of the parish. You got a wall now that fresh water will hit that wall, and it will spread throughout the entire system and its tributaries. And the other thing that it'll do, we still get calls when there's a severe south wind. We can't operate this thing like a normal floodgate. There's certain criteria we have to meet before we can open and close it. And you don't want to stifle commerce. So it's hard to open and close based on the south winds. But every time there's a severe south wind, we start getting calls from people out there that are getting water in their yards. And Angela would call me up and say, man, they're calling, we got water in the yards and stuff. And I remember back 20 years ago or so, they used to call and we get water in their houses. And they were getting water every place in their houses included. And I would tell Angela, I said, look, I don't want to be a smart ass, but just tell them this is called progress. They were getting water in their yards instead of their house. But this project will stop that water from pushing with a south wind and putting water in people's yards. This project will stop that as well. So this accomplishes a lot. And again, it's something we never thought we would see done. So anyway, with that, our Terrebonne Parish President, Jason Bedron. Jason?
Thank you, Tony. I really want to start by thanking the governor for giving us a chance. I feel like now, the next 4 years, our region, our parish has a real fighting shot at being successful with us not having to at least fight the state government to do things. And so I want to thank him for that. We've got a lot of work that's been done over time, and I want to thank everybody that's kind of made all that happen. We have a lot of people in this room have all done their part to help make sure that we are protected like we are, so that I could then take the ball and take those next steps to help move the parish forward. But with the recent water event, you can see we still have a lot of work to do, right? So, we have a storm that was 700 miles away that caused water to be in residents' yards. And so as much work as we have done, as much as we invested, there's more to invest, there's more to do. It's going to take some time to get this project done. But as I understand, as this project gets completed, we're going to have some more protection before it is fully completed. So that's something that I really commend all the work that's done and everybody that's really come together to get us to this point. It's interesting. Matt Jewell and I were talking a while ago, and I thanked him for being here. And he said, this project is a regional project because we have people in Terrebonne Parish that work in St. Charles. We have people in Lafourche that live in Lafourche, work in Terrebonne Parish. And so as we work through projects like this, it shows, number one, how well we can get stuff done, how cost effective we can get stuff done, but how we work together and battle as a region. And I think that's important. I think with projects like this, with us working as a region, with our new elected governor, we have the best opportunity in the state of Louisiana to really make a difference in our state and on our parish. So I really commend us coming together, that we can work together to move not only Terrebonne Parish forward, our region forward, the state forward, and eventually the country forward. And so when the government's talking about environmental projects, the thing I like to talk about all the time, when it comes to oil and gas and everything that we do it more environmentally friendly, we do it safer, and we do it more carbon neutral than anywhere else in the world. And so this is a great example of an environmental project that we're working on that also ties together to the oil and gas industry that comes up and down this canal here. And Tony talked about going up there and seeing what the trees look like. You know, I went through here to go fishing probably 3 weeks ago, and it's just truly amazing how wide this thing is and how much water's flowing through. And so this is definitely a project that was needed, and I thank those that helped fund it and those that helped push to make it happen. And so, again, I thank everybody for being here. I thank the governor for making time for this, and God bless Terrebonne Parish. God bless our region. God bless the state, and God bless the United States. Thank you.
We're here once again in Cocodrie, reporting to you for Tri-Parish News.
For over 40 years, I, along with my team, have had the distinct pleasure of archiving special events and special people in our area. When I was a young reporter, I never realized how important those seemingly routine interviews would become. And as we have made our journey through the television industry, the most important memories to us have been captured through the lens of a camera and a microphone. We just want to say thank you. Thank you to all of those who have given us our start and continue to support us 40 years into our great journey. When you signed on back then and still today, you are helping preserve the precious moments that will be archived for future generations. It's been a joy, and we thank you here at HTV. HTV, preserving the past and moving into the future.
Thank you, Jason. That's also one thing. This allows us to have more commerce as well. We keep forgetting that part. To be able to dredge the canal and be able to get bigger boats and more work in this parish, by doing this, allows us to be able to do that going forward. So that's huge as well. And with that, the next speaker, he started out as a representative, became a parish president. He is now the chairman of the CPRA, and I can't say enough about what he has done to make this happen, this whole project, Morganza to the Gulf, the local levees and pump stations, and him and I are real excited about what we're going to do with the Louisiana's coast like we've done here. And with that, Gordon Dove.
Thank you, Tony. And, first of all, a round of applause for Tony Alford, who's really pushed these projects forward and never stopped. Well deserved. And, and I'd like to thank the governor for appointing me CPRA chairman, and, of course, the Senate confirming me, the full Senate. I believe it was unanimous, so I think that's a good thing. And, we've come a long way. This gate, the chamber is going to be 800 foot long. The outer gate is going to be 23.5 foot wide. Tall. That acts as for a hurricane for the future, of course. And the inside chamber height will be 10 foot. So a vessel that's trying to get in during a hurricane and it loses an engine and it's going real slow has the opportunity to get in with about 8 foot of water out past this gate as it's coming in. Because it's got engine problems or something and getting into safe harbor. So it's like the governor said, besides an environmental gate to stop saltwater intrusion and to hold fresh water in and keep it out of our estuaries to the north, this gate will also allow vessels to come and go. It's 110 foot between the wing walls. And so if a vessel has a greater need of width of that, the Bubba Dell floodgate will remain in place, and it can be opened with a 250 foot opening. And of course, these are all built at a minus 24 feet. So as the port and Mr. Rabelais and them get deep in the channel, it'll be prepared for vessels to come and go to 20 foot navigable, which would be great in the marine industry. And, it will be operated, and the colonels could talk about this, by the Corps of Engineers, so that won't be a cost to us. So we appreciate the Corps of Engineers on everything, and Colonel Jones and Mr. Duran has been great to work with, and Miss Lacey back here on the project. We've come a long way. You know, working for the governor, we've met many times on projects from Texas to Mississippi. You're going to see a robust construction program, like he said. You know, from barrier islands to marsh restoration to we're gonna do a lot of hurricane protection where there is none. We're gonna fund gates that need to be funded, and you know, along with drainage. You know, we're coming in here and helping these parishes out with their drainage situations due to coastal erosion and coastal restoration and hurricane protection projects. So you know, the governor has been really involved, and we move forward. We have a lot of projects in the future to start bringing out, and we will bring them out accordingly. But you know, now more than ever is a time to move forward and get construction projects on the ground. We have about 7 more years of BP fine money that we need to spend wisely. So we still have monies coming in for 7 years, and we have other funding streams we're looking at, but we are going to be very aggressive on segmented breakwater rocks on barrier islands, to land bridges, to long distance sediment pipelines, slurry pumping, which is needed here in Terrebonne and other parishes. And you know, we're working with parish presidents like Matt Jewell over here on a pump station right now. So we're moving further than just coastal restoration, hurricane protection. We are helping parishes with drainage at the orders of the governor, and we're moving forward with that. You know, there's too many people in here to thank. I mean, you know, this was built in 2013, and it's protected us against about 8 or 9 storms, hurricanes, and Morton Falls has been there every step of the way. And we haven't flooded a house. We haven't flooded since Barry, and that was only 11 homes. In Rita, we flooded 11,000 homes in 2005. So we've come a long way, thanks to the gentleman with the levee board, and Mr. Sue and Carl Chauvin and the rest of them. And you know, we're moving forward. I want to thank Glenn Leday. He's the executive director. He actually does the day-to-day stuff, which is he's a coastal engineer with a master's degree and a civil engineer. So we've got expertise involved with it, and everything we built will be as per engineering, will be as per models. Everything we do is done scientifically. We don't cut corners. We have to get a Corps of Engineers permit when we do something. We will get a Corps of Engineers permit. We have to get a DNR permit. We have to do an environmental impact study, and we don't cut corners, but we're going to expedite it and get these projects moving forward. And with the help of Tony and my board, the CPRA board, we're going to move forward and move quick. And with that, you know, I want to thank everyone for coming, and it's been a long road of this, about 10 or 11 years to finally get it off. This is actually the 3rd lock system in Terrebonne, because under my administration as parish president, we built one in Little Caillou. We built a lock system. They're a lot smaller than this, but it's still the same principle. And we built one in Bayou, Terrebonne. So when this is completed in about 3 years, you will come and go through Terrebonne Parish with lock systems, no matter what the weather's doing, and no matter what the tides are. And you will not bring salt water into Terrebonne Parish as long as these gates are operational under lock system procedure. So with that, God bless the veterans. God bless the United States of America. God bless Louisiana, and God bless the people of Terrebonne Parish. Thank y'all very much, and thank everyone in here. This wouldn't have been done without most of you in here. Thank you, and God bless you.
All right. I also like to recognize Mary Walker. Mary, you here? Please stand up. Mary is the Executive Director for Restore Council. Thank you, Mary, so much. All right. And our next speaker, Commander of New Orleans District, Corps of Engineers. He has been fantastic. He has tried to fight through just about everything to get some of this stuff off the ground, which is, in their system, sometimes is a little difficult, But he has turned over every stone and done everything that he could. And I'm proud to be working with the commander, Colonel Jones.
Well, thank you very much, Tony, and thank you, everybody, and good morning. We really appreciate you joining us here in Terrebonne Parish as we celebrate this milestone for the Houma Navigation Canal. Really want to thank Governor Landry for taking the time to join us here today. Governor, your commitment to this region is critical as we continue to work together to reduce flood risk for the residents and businesses here. And it's important to note that we would not be here without a long list of distinguished partners and stakeholders that have supported this effort, from our congressional delegations to our state agencies to the parish, the port, our state legislators, and local stakeholders. Thank you all for coming, and we're excited for our continued progress together. And to have everyone that we have here today, this esteemed group of individuals, really highlights the importance of the Houma Navigation Canal Complex and the Morganza to the Gulf project, not only for South Louisiana, but for the region and ultimately the nation. Realizing, as you heard from the previous speakers, the Houma Navigation Canal Lock Complex is an integral component of the Morganza to the Gulf Hurricane and Storm Damage Risk Reduction Project. This is a 98-mile alignment of levees, floodgates, and control structures that will ultimately reduce flood risk for the 200,000 residents here. I'm just going to say that again, 200,000 residents. And as you also heard, this is a trifecta. We are hitting multiple purposes with this project. It marries two federal projects here. We've got the federally maintained Houma Navigation Canal and, of course, the Morganza to the Gulf project. And as you heard, once constructed, it will be operated by the Corps of Engineers and is going to maintain the critical navigation between the Gulf of Mexico and the Gulf Intercoastal Waterway, our nation's #3 inland waterway system here in Houma. At the same time, as you heard, it's going to reduce flood risk for the residents here in the southern area of Terrebonne and Lafourche parishes across the board. And then at the same time, it's going to also provide ecosystem restoration by reducing saltwater intrusion into our wetlands and natural areas. So navigation, flood risk mitigation, and ecosystem restoration all at the same time. And ultimately, why is that important? Why is the results of all this effort? It's going to result in more efficient navigation for the shipyard industry, which is the backbone of the Terrebonne Parish's economy. When completed, it'll also reduce flood risk for those that work in that industry and also those that live in this area. Ultimately, when delivered, it will enable South Louisiana's maritime industry to compete globally for decades to come. So going to that national level support. It's also important to note, in addition to the HNC Lock Complex milestone that we celebrate today, as you heard with the Morganza to the Gulf project, we are moving out in innovative ways on all fronts. We just recently awarded the first phase of the Reach A levee reach here in Terrebonne Parish, a previously unconstructed gap in the system. And what's important, as you talked about that expeditious manner, we were executing that 2 years ahead of our normal processes, setting precedents alongside our state and local partners to move at the speed of relevancy. It's also important to know that the Corps of Engineers and the federal effort is, of course, riding on the tails of the immense state and local effort that has occurred here. In addition to the efforts here to construct the Houma Navigation Canal Lock Complex, they've also proceeded and executed over 80 miles of levee system and associated structures. And I am delighted, and we are delighted as the Corps of Engineers, that we have started to see a federal investment that has not only enabled us to move out towards construction of Reach A, but we also have 14 other designs currently in progress, so we are poised for large-scale construction in the future. The administration and Congress have seen the significant benefits of this area and have invested over $469 million through the bipartisan infrastructure law, earmarks, and the work plan, all specifically for the Morganza to the Gulf project. And as such, we are working at all levels of the Corps to get those funds to construction. This project is a priority, and we're going to leverage all of our capabilities to get it in place as quickly as possible. And I always have to say, with every big project, there's going to be challenges. But the way to overcome those challenges is to surround yourself with a team of partners that have both capability and competence. And just seeing what this team here has done in the past and their unwavering commitment to reduce risk is going to benefit the residents and businesses that are going to rely on this system. And of course, I need to thank all the teammates here today that made this event possible. It takes a lot of planning, coordination, and collaboration to celebrate such a wonderful milestone, and I want to thank you all for your leadership and efforts there. And in closing, I just really look forward to continue to see the amazing progress and irreversible momentum that we've gotten together on here as we continue to reduce risk for our fellow citizens here in both Lafourche and Terrebonne Parish. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Colonel. Senator Cassidy, I don't think was able to make it. Says congratulations. John Kennedy, neither, but we appreciate his effort in D.C., both of them. Steve Scalise's office, somebody's here with Steve Scalise's office, I think, right? All right. Would you like to say a few words? Are you good? All right. Moving on. Thank you for coming. Christian Bergeron? Christian?
So, Thomas and Greg, Mr. Grant's not being able to make it today, but on behalf of all of us, thank you to everyone who's taken part in building this project. It's a great day. Terrebonne Parish and South Louisiana, so thank you all for that.
Thank you, Christian. Appreciate it. Peyton Harvey, Office of Mike Johnson. Hey.
On behalf of the speaker, thank you all for inviting us today.
All right, thank you. Senator Mike Fessy, State Senator Mike Fessy.
Thank you, Tony. Thank y'all all for being here today. It's such a pleasure to see everyone turn out for such a great event. And I want to thank the governor and his wife for mainly, taking time out of his busy schedule to come and join us in such a great event. I want to thank everyone who was dedicated to put me in office, that y'all believed in me to go to Baton Rouge and fight for us in any way we can to save our coast and save our parish, and both parishes, Lafourche and Terrebonne. I look back when I was a young man, and I look back at how much land we have lost. And I've done a lot of studies, and I have a map in my office in the Senate at the Capitol, and it's a map of 1890, which shows how big Terrebonne and Lafourche were back then. And it's really devastating to compare that map to the map of today and the work that we have to complete. And this is part of us with our great levy boards of both parishes coming together, taxing ourselves and trying to save our parishes. It's really a great a moment in time that we can get the federal government on board. Thank you, Colonel, and have everybody coming together to make this project forward. I know that we've been through some really hard times with the hurricanes lately and COVID, so our economic condition is at its challenges, and getting things done like this put an economic engine back into our area to where we can move forward. And I just want to thank everybody for being here, and thank everyone for believing in me to send me to Baton Rouge to keep things going in the right direction. Thank y'all.
I'd also like to recognize somebody in the audience, Chip Klein. Chip is the past chairman of the CPRA, and God, he has really helped this thing tremendously. And you know what I mean? We've been to war a few times, right? Thank you. Come. Let's see, Representative Beryl Amity. Beryl, you here? Oh, sorry, you're sitting up here.
Good morning. It's always exciting to come to groundbreakings and ribbon cuttings because they mean progress. And although I believe most of us under this tent can say the same as I can say, that we haven't reached the level of maturity as Mr. Sue, but we've been around long enough to see the need and to see the steps that have already been taken. I can remember when the big push was simply protecting people from floodwaters. And now we've done so much that the last several hurricane events, storm events, we haven't had flooding in homes that we used to have. So people are protected for the most part. And then we move to land. We're trying to protect the land. We don't want it to keep eroding and being covered with water. And so we've made a lot of progress there. Still got a ways to go. We're still losing some land, but hey, progress. And so it's wonderful that we're moving into a time in all these projects where we're not only protecting the land, but the ecosystems, the plant and animal life, the environment. And now with locks like this one, we can do all of those things while also protecting the economy, because we can continue to move commerce as we multitask. So it's exciting every time we take the next step. I can remember the days when some entities were not working together. I remember when one of our greatest obstacles was the Corps. And we've been through so many commanders, and I think we have a wonderful colonel right now. The Corps is now working with us, thank God. Thank you, Colonel. So it's nice to see, with all the effort over these decades, that we've been able to build relationships, that we've been able to get the message out there that this area is worth protecting. We never could have done that except for the stubborn tenacity of our people. Because before, we had a lot of favor at the federal level. Before people were really beginning to understand the message, Terrebonne and Lafourche did vote a tax upon ourselves. Basically, if nobody's coming to help us, we'll just do it ourselves. And the doing it ourselves, I believe, was the catalyst to draw all of that favor that we enjoy now. So my prayer is that that favor continues, that God continues to rise up the people at the strategic moments that we need in place to be able to continue this forward progress and to see the momentum that we've seen speed up even more. I mean, think about it. These groundbreakings, these ribbon cuttings, they seem to be coming a little bit faster. That's because of a lot of the effort of the people that are under this tent and those who didn't make it here today that have been working with us. So thank you all. And Lord, I just ask for your continued favor. Thank you.
You know, Beryl, you brought up something that sometimes we forget to say. You know, this thing would never be possible, any of this, if Terrebonne Parish hadn't taxed themselves and allowed us to have some money and the trust to move this thing forward. Terrebonne and Lafourche have taxed themselves to get the funding to be able to get this thing rolling and to make things much easier than it would have been. We would still be sitting here without this. So thank all of you. Next, Jerome Zerang, ex-director of Terrebonne Parish, Terrebonne Levy and Conservation. Big part of this whole thing, and we appreciate it.
It's a great day, great to be here. Angela said dress for heat, and I did, which explains my interesting apparel, despite what my wife says. I actually do follow directions. But and speaking of the heat, great move, Mitch and Angela. The air-conditioned tent's really nice. You know, it reminds me, speaking in the heat, reminds me of a story about Adlai Stevenson was campaigning in California, and this woman kind of admired his deep, dark tan and went up to him and said, you know, Mr. Stevenson, you must play a lot of golf. You got a nice tan. He said, oh, no. I got this dark tan from campaigning in the South. She said, well, a tan that deep, you probably talk too damn long, don't you? So nobody will get a tan, I promise you, with me being up here. But we've come a long way, obviously, from air-conditioned tents that didn't have them back then. And as Tony mentioned, I started for the Levee District in '98. We'd go to D.C., pleading our case, go to the New Orleans District, and even members of the district, not now, but even members of the district said, Z, you can have all the meetings you want, you can have all the site visits, but the Corps of Engineers is not going to build a levee outside of New Orleans. It's just not going to happen. But thankfully, and we're here today because the Corps and because of the efforts of the people in our district, I know when the governor was there in Congress and others, our congressional district, to work to make the federal government recognize the significance that this area plays for our national security, energy, oil and gas, fisheries. There is no other state in the 48 contiguous states that produces more in seafood and dollar value and poundage than Louisiana. You look at the port systems. So this structure and this system is not only important to the people in this region, but it's important to the nation. And Colonel, thank you and the Corps for recognizing that and working with us to get this done. And speaking of working to get this done, we've come a long way. Tony mentioned Richard. I see Richard Rowe in the back, who's the principal and owner of Sea Level Construction. And Richard and I graduated high school together. He's obviously done a hell of a lot better than I have. But when I was at the Levee District, he'd come up and said, see, look, I'm starting this company. Whatever you need to do. If you need covert work, bulkhead work, we can do the work. I'm telling you, we can really go and get it done. And to go from that to building one of the most significant structures that's one hell of a culvert you're working on out here, Richard. I tell you, I'm so proud of you, man, and appreciate all you've done in your company for getting not just this project, but other projects throughout the region. And it's great to have you a part of this local company, born and raised and bred here, and doing something as significant as this, I think, is a great testament of the people here in Louisiana. And also the structure, it was mentioned, I don't want to belabor the point, but how important this structure is to the environmental integrity in terms of the importance it's going to play for hurricane and flood protection. But this structure is going to be significant in addressing one of the most valuable ecosystems in the United States. Again, we often talk about Chesapeake Bay, San Joaquin Valley, and all these other environmentally important issues, but there is no other place where you have a working coast, where you have the resources that we have here in Louisiana that are working together and providing that resource. And this structure and this system is important to do that. And there's so many people to thank. And again, Tony in the Levee District, Reggie and Gordy, and all the people who have participated. We spent a lot of time in the legislature this year with the governor. I had a meeting with the governor about a month after one of our special sessions. And he's sincere, and I appreciate his commitment. He said, Z, we're going to do this coastal work. And we're going to get it done because it's important to our state. And I believe that, and I believe in him, and I know we're going to get some things done, and appreciate all your efforts, and appreciate the Levee Board. And also, today's Purple Day, which explains part of my exaggerated outfit here, but it's also Purple Heart Day. So again, I want to thank all members of the armed services who've served our country. And thank you all for being here. Bye-bye.
All right, Representative Jessica Domingue. Jessica.
Thank you all for being here, and welcome to District 53. It is my honor to represent the entire coastline of Terrebonne Parish. And I know we talked earlier about how important our coast is and how important this area is. And Governor and First Lady, thank you so much for coming to the district and coming to this area and being with us today. Look, this governor has been amazing to work with. We have done so much. He kept us very busy. I know you guys saw that. But although you've done so much good and so much great for Louisiana, sir, one of the best things you did was appoint Gordy Dove as CPRA chairman, because he is going to do so much. And we all know that his passion and how passionate Gordy is on coastal restoration and flood protection. So Good job, Mr. Governor. I won't keep you guys long. I just want to thank you all for being here and just know that we are going to continue this work on coastal restoration and flood protection. It's an honor, too, for Reggie to be here today. We had a big retirement party for Reggie the other day, and it was an honor to be able to speak in front of him. And one of the things we talked about was passing the baton on, and Reggie was our District 53 representative as well as our senator, and it's an honor to now be your representative for this area and to continue this important work that we have in this area, because Terrebonne Parish, although we love it, it's beautiful, we also are the first line of defense for the entire state of Louisiana. So this work that we're doing here today is so valuable and so important for our state. So thank you all for being here. Thank you, Governor. Thank you, First Lady. And we look forward to continue this work together.
And Morganza Action Coalition President Jay Walker.
Thank you, Tony. Appreciate you saving the best for last. I know y'all, this is the one you're looking for. Just wanted to say thank you for all of y'all to be here today. It's a great day. Thank you, Governor and First Lady. Thank you, Parish President. You know, I represent Morganza Action Coalition. Morganza was established for one reason, really to promote and advocate for the building of the Morganza system. And it's so gratifying now today to see what we've done and what we're going to do and put this environmental structure into place. Because I can tell you, believe it or not, we were young when we started this, Tony, and we're not so young anymore, but I can tell you it's been disheartening for years to see what's going on with our coastline, losing marsh and losing the valuable resources we have, seeing all of our beautiful cypress swamps deteriorate. And you know, this environmental structure is going to do a good bit to, and go a long way to stopping that and restoring our coast and restoring these things. So we appreciate everything y'all do for that. And Tony, appreciate you and everybody with the levee districts. Look, we couldn't do it without them. And I also want to acknowledge Henri Boulet, our executive director for MAC. I mean, he's tenacious. I don't know if you know Henri, but he does not leave any stone unturned. If you haven't seen Henri, you will. And I know with him at the helm with MAC, we're going to get this thing finished up. So y'all keep pushing. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to get killed for this, but we're going to change things up a little bit. I think it's going to be easier. What we'll do, our governor wants to give the closing comments, then we're going to do the benediction, and then we'll do the groundbreaking after that, you know, instead of putting everybody back together now. So, Governor, it's your floor.
Yeah, real quickly, you know, as I listen to everyone speaking out, one person I want to recognize who every time I had come here, all you would hear from him was about levees and protection. That's Reggie Dupree. Reggie. Thank you. Really and truly, you, Mr. Suda, so many of y'all have paved the way to what we're doing today. And I also want to ask Colonel Jones, you know, Barrow reminded me that, you know, the Army does this crazy thing of moving people consistently, right? You seem to be one of the few colonels that everyone wants to keep, and we'd love to keep you. But if you do depart us, make sure you go back and you tell them the wonderful story about the sacrifice, about the sweat, about the treasure that the great people of Louisiana have put on their own coast. And all we ask is for the federal government to recognize the wonderful asset that our country has, and it's right here along the coast. So please go back and tell that story. I know you will. And then finally, to the people of Terrebonne and Lafourche and all of around the coast. I know Sharon shares this. We absolutely love it. And when you gave us an opportunity to serve as governor and start this administration and go out and appoint great people like Tony and Gordy and Glenn, and the list goes on, and a great bunch of people to work with, like the legislators that were here and a couple who couldn't be here. I will tell you that we started off an inauguration that said, come back home. because we have seen far too many of the great and talented people of this state leave this state for somewhere else. And what we do today and what we're going to continue to do is going to pave the way, is going to create lights, right? Like lights on a landing strip to tell our people that they can come back home in safety. God bless you. Thank you so very much.
And Colonel, I hope I'm not speaking out of school, but this was pretty amazing what the Colonel just mentioned to me, Gory. So the next Colonel that's coming in is from Terrebonne Parish.
Oh.
How about that, huh? So that'll take off some of the sting of losing him.
See?
All right. It's great, huh? All right. And so with that, Reverend Simon.
We are a nation under God. We are a nation that trusts in God. The good book tells us that without God, we can do nothing. With God, we can do everything. The good book tells us that a building project without God is in vain. And so now it's my honor to invoke God's blessing upon this project. Loving and faithful God, we give you thanks for your many blessings. Today we pray your blessing, your guidance, your protection, your wisdom upon all who embark on this project. Loving God, may they manifest your love and your saving presence for your people. Your blessing, Lord, come upon this project, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Father. Thank you. All right, with that, I'd like to also thank Angela and Debbie, who put a lot of this together, all our employees. I mean, just terrific. And with that, we'll retrieve the colors.
Or what, Dave? Well, oh, word. Oh.
All right, we have some gold shovels out here. Angela, you gonna tell us where to go? There's Angela over here. Look, all you guys, let's go get a gold shovel and break ground. And thank you all so much for coming out. We got plenty more to come. Let's get this thing going. Thank you.
Smile, Richard.
All right.
Go by Richard.
One,
go by Richard.
2, 3.
Turn that dirt.
1, 2, 3. Who gave me the lead?
We're here once again in Cocodrie, reporting to you for Tri-Parish News.
For over 40 years, I, along with my team, have had the distinct pleasure of archiving special events and special people in our area. When I was a young reporter, I never realized how important those seemingly routine interviews would become. And as we have made our journey through the television industry, the most important memories to us have been captured through the lens of a camera and a microphone. We just want to say thank you. Thank you to all of those who have given us our start and continue to support us 40 years into our great journey. When you signed on back then and still today, you are helping preserve the precious moments that will be archived for future generations. It's been a joy, and we thank you here at HTV. HTV, preserving the past and moving into the future.
Governor, what a great day. You talked about, in so many words, having skin in your own game and here in this area. we have a lot of skin in our own game, but you've hit the ground running. I've covered many governors. But when you hit the ground running, you didn't waste any time in getting people ready and putting people in action to complete the whole state, not just Terrebonne and Lafourche. What was driving that mentally for you?
Well, I think, Martin, we've seen it. We've known each other for a long time. I think this is a great day for you and all of the people at Terrebonne, and actually the people of Louisiana, like you said. We don't have any more time to sit around and wait and think and try to figure it out. We know that every other state around us is bringing more people in than are leaving, and Louisiana is just not in that position. So we've got a great team in the legislature, and they've worked real hard, and we're going to continue to work hard until we get it right here in Louisiana. That's the commitment that I've made to the people for the last 4 years, and that's what we intend to do.
Yeah, you've carried that passion, and like you said, I've hung around Gordy and Tony. We've sort of seen this coming for a long time, but it never moved this quick. What did you see in them? Because obviously you're a governor with a lot of passion. You've always had a lot of energy, but you've surrounded yourself with people that have a lot of energy.
Well, exactly. And look, one of the reasons that I chose Gordy was because of his sheer determination to see projects through. He was a bulldog in the legislature and representing Terrebonne Parish when he was parish president. Same thing. And of course, Tony's passion, is unquestionable. And so between them, and look, we put a great cabinet together as well, and we are committed to actually seeing things happen. I think that people start to believe in their government again when we actually fulfill the promises that we make and they see the fruits of their labor. Again, today, this is great. This is a culmination of the sacrifices, the sweat and the treasure that the people of Terrebonne Parish, the state and the federal government, to make this project happen.
Well, we're leaking some news today because Colonel Jones sort of whispered that the next person that takes his place will be from Terrebonne Parish, and we just heard y'all say it. There is a good God in there.
There is. I don't know exactly who it is, but we know that they rotate him, and I can tell you, Colonel Jones has been a welcome. Many of the members of Congress have seemed to work with him. It's tough. A lot of times, sometimes he has to be the bearer of some bad news that mostly comes out of Washington, and that's why our message to him was to go back to Washington and tell him the great story of the great people down here and the great culture that we're trying to preserve. And certainly having a colonel in charge of the Corps who is actually from this area will be just, I can't think of anything better, and I hope he gets to stay for as long as the people will leave me in the governorship.
Governor, thank you so much for coming. I'll see you tonight at a very special ceremony.
Absolutely. Take care. Thank you so much.
Mr. Parish President, wonderful day, beautiful day. Still a little hot, but we'll take it.
Yes, sir.
But when you
Keep
see,
some hurricanes away when it's hot.
You're right. When you see this kind of construction, and we see sea level out here implementing some new stuff to drive sheep piles down, but the governor recognizing that we have a lot of skin in the game, and I know you're in charge of a lot of projects now and keeping the ball rolling. What's your thoughts today? This is just great to see it.
Yeah, like I talked about earlier, it really is about, we've come a long way, but we have further to go. And again, I talked about how that last water event really showed the need for this specific project, So we've better at keeping water out of homes. Now we're working on keeping water out of yards. And now at the same time, stopping saltwater intrusion, allowing the fresh water to build back some marsh. The economic development opportunities that you have, the fact that it's sustaining, so many different things coming together, and then being able to take that and move forward with it to move our parish forward. I just think it's truly amazing.
Is there going to be a day in Terrebonne, in Lafourche for that matter, where we're not talking about water coming in from tidal surges at all? Maybe one day we could build a dome for wind, and we got the whole thing figured out, right?
Yes, sir. I think it'll be a day. I think even when you heard the Corps talk today, the Corps talked about how they're moving projects along faster, and a project's starting 2 years earlier than it would. So everybody sees the need. It's always been the issue of the money, which we've done a great job with taxing ourselves to get that done, showing the federal government, showing the world what we do, and then I think we're gonna make a lot of progress. We got a lot of money coming in, not only for these kind of projects, but rebuilding from Hurricane Ida. And I think our residents are really going to see a difference. I think at this point next year, you're going to see a difference that leaps and bounds from where we are now.
Yeah, good to see. Good to see a lot of people come together. Good to always have the governor come in town to share ideas with you all as parish presidents. And it was a good showing today. And it's really good to see a lot of focus on Terrebonne.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And like we talked about earlier with the other parish presidents about how a project like this is regional with people that live in the Fuchsia and work in Terrebonne, or live in Terrebonne and work in St. Charles. And we support each other. We fight things as a region, and that we can, many hands make light work. And anytime we come together and do that, it helps.
Thank you for serving, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. God bless Terrebonne Parish.
Always good to have the governor come in town, but always good to have the sheriff, a good friend of ours, and there's a lot more to it. I can tell sometimes when you're at an event, you're sort of looking around in the waterways and all that. What was going on around there? A lot of protection out there.
There's absolutely a lot of. We had water patrol in the water. We had just south and north of the floodgate, so we had patrol out here, and we had coverage on the entrances, so we had pretty much everything covered in this area, so it would be a safe location for to conduct the event.
And I know you've been busy, but tonight something near and dear to you. A lot of Marines will be upstairs at HTV, and I know you were the guest speaker last year. The governor will speak today, but I know that's near and dear to you.
Yes, sir. Marine Corps League, they host a Purple Heart dinner every year. Last year I was a guest speaker, and I know the governor's going to be the guest speaker tonight, but look, anything to honor our veterans, I'm 100%. I serve, but I don't forget where I come from. And I'll support anything that's got anything to do with veterans and supporting a cause of which we, again, serving a cause higher than yourself. And anybody that's about that, you cannot love it.
All right, here we go on a beautiful day. And, we got Tony Alford, the president of the Levee District. Of course, Reggie Dupree, who I bet before he can never retire. And,
he ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, he ain't going nowhere. But, Tony, we'll start with you. What a wonderful day talking with the governor. He's so excited. I told him I've covered many governors in our years at HTV, but never one that hit the ground running so quickly. He just put people in place, and he's rolling. Man, that's good to see.
It's great to see, Mark. I mentioned it when I was introducing him. The thing I like best about him is he stands behind the people that he appoints, and he stands in front of the bus. He makes a lot of the decisions, and he says, I made the decision. And I like that a lot, He's pretty solid, and he's letting us move the coast forward. And I'm real excited to be part of not only the local levee board, but also the state, and to be able to do some of the things that we've done here on the state coast and fix some of those areas that don't have this yet, So.
And I do want to say we were trying to find Angela, but she is running around all over the place. We're going to try to catch it. Oh, we're waving her in right now. And Reggie, while we're waving her in, these new devices that drive these sheet piles are incredible, aren't they?
Yes, they are. I mean, very, very quiet. It's not even a vibratory hammer. I don't know how it works. It just pushes down on the
hydraulics.
Hydraulics, yes. I've never seen that before. And that's a game changer.
All right, there we found Angela. And what a great day. And I know you hide behind the scenes a lot, and you orchestrate a lot of things. But how proud are you of what took place today? And the governor came down, and if we ever heard a confirmation from a governor about how committed they are to making this work, we heard it today, and I know that made you proud.
It did. It made me very proud. Today's a wonderful day for Terrebonne, a wonderful day for the Levee District and our community, our economy. I'm super proud to be here. I never thought I would see it in my 23 years of working here, so I'm just extremely grateful and proud to be here today and happy to be a part of all of it.
And I think the key part of this whole thing, which I took from it, maybe y'all's a little different, is the fact that the rain in the yards. I mean, you have talked many times when people call up and call the station up and they go, man, we had all kind of water in our yard. I said, like you, how much have you had in your house? Well, no, it didn't get to the house. Okay, we had 11,000 homes flood way back in the day for Rita and all, but progress, I think is what we're seeing.
One brick at a time. It's taken us a long time to get here. We still have a good ways left to go, right? To get these levees up to the certified height. It's going to take some time, but now when a storm's coming, we feel pretty good about having a chance to not have houses flood. And, as we go forward, it's one brick at a time. I can't wait till this project. It's going to take about 4 years to construct this thing. But in the process, those south winds that put water in everybody's yards, that's going to start cutting back. That's going to start not happening as much. And so we went from the houses to the yard to the ditch and maybe not even that eventually, right?
Yeah, we're going to be bored on HTV
right.
trying to look
What
for
you gonna do
something.
for news?
We're going to have to put a dome over for the win, right?
Yeah.
But just a very good day, and to see the kind of equipment we have out here and to see the commitment from a lot of people. And Angela, I know you spent a lot of years sort of behind the scenes and just being the diplomat all the time, and of course Reggie, spent many times, and now you get to sort of orchestrate a lot of this. Today was pretty good, wasn't it?
Today was a great day. I get to lead the charge of a lot of people before me that did a great job, and I'm super happy that we've got the support we have from the governor's office, from the Restore Council, from the levee board, and the parish administration, and the public. So this is a great day. I'm super proud to be here.
Only thing that would make Gordy more happy is if a big barge full of rocks would pass by right now. But we got three.
She has been there longer than Reggie or I at the levee board. And so she's earned her way.
Why does she look younger than both of y'all?
I know, man. She takes care of herself, I guess. Yeah, she does. You ain't kidding. Thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah, Reggie said he hired her when she was 12. All right, three key people here, right here in the southern part of Terrebonne Parish. We'll be back. Richard, what a great day, and God, I was so glad to hear that you were recognized in front of everybody, because your crew and the way you've grown is unbelievable, and to see, I was mesmerized to see how they drive polys now, and that's incredible equipment. It's expensive equipment, but it's what y'all do. And what's this day mean to you?
It's just been a great chance to showcase what we can do and be a part of the biggest project here, in the local area. Like the governor said, this is the last piece of the puzzle that goes in, that we'll have a complete system, a closed system with the Section A being started also. And this will allow so many things, not just protection, but for the ecosystem, for the freshwater reintroduction or additional freshwater to be pushed around here in this area, commerce to go through, additional flood protection. It's amazing with the plans that they have. Basically, all of the things that we built to 11 feet and then to 15 feet are now going to 23 feet to really give protection to the people of Lafourche, Terrebonne, and adjacent parishes.
Yeah. If we go back 30, 40 years, and some of the people that have passed and were really trying to get this done for a long time, would they be a little bit mesmerized by what they see today?
I'm sure they'd be surprised to see the progress that's been made, and like Jerome Zorang said earlier, that no one ever thought that the Corps of Engineers would come in here and participate in a levee system, outside of the New Orleans and Baton Rouge area. So we've really come a long way, and we're just so glad to be a part of it.
Well, kudos to you. You've done a great job, and you've competitively bid a lot of things, but your work ethic and your crew are tremendous, and we appreciate it. We're glad to have y'all in the area.
We're glad to be here.
All right, of course, two guys that really don't need an introduction, but Gordy Dove and David Rabelais, both very familiar with what's happening out here, cover different spectrums of what actually it'll benefit. But Gordy, as a CPRA chairman, it's like I told the governor. I said, I've covered many governors, but I never saw a governor hit the ground running so quickly. And I commended him for being energetic, but I said, I also commend you for hiring very energetic people to head your boards, and you're one of them. He compared you like the pit bull, and then Tony like a Rottweiler or whatever, but I think he's right. It takes that mentality to get it done.
Yeah, Martin, we've got to move everything quickly. We can't get stalemated. This lock system took 10 years. We should have been under construction in 3 or 4 years, but it's the bureaucratic system of the federal monies, and I'm not blaming anyone, of course, but it's just the way the monies work, and these are BP fine monies that had to go through the Treasury and through the different trustees and all. And the trustees, it's not their fault. The problem is it's just the system that's set up. So we try to cut through the red tape, get Barry Islands done, get more levee systems done, and actually we're going to move into more drainage pertaining to the levee systems. And and Governor Landry wants us to expedite it, and of course, I'm for expediting it, and we're going to move fast. And we still have 7 years of BP money funding, plus we have some other funding streams that we're going to use as we progress along. But we got a very robust plan to move forward with a lot of barrier island work, segmented breakwater rocks, and protect the island, protect Terrebonne, and Terrebonne from Cameron, Terrebonne to St. Bernard Parish, Plaquemines and Lafourche.
So you'll be ready. One guy that doesn't get a lot of credit too is the man standing next to you, David Rabelais. Always had great ideas, always was pushing the envelope a little bit, and he likes to sit in the back of the crowd when these things go on. But I want to thank you too for what you do, and you do a great job, David. And this is another big day for Terrebonne.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for saying that, Martin. I appreciate it. This structure right here is it's the linchpin of the deepening. Okay, once this is finished, we're going to start deepening. Well, we got to still load the pipelines, but that's the goal. And without this, we can't deepen. Right. So I learned from this man a long time ago. You never take no for an answer. Okay, because that's what first thing they tell you always is no, and you got to keep pushing and keep pushing and keep pushing, and it ends up you may have to compromise a little bit, but you end up getting it done, and that's what this guy taught me.
Martin, when you go from 15-foot navigable to 20-foot navigable, you bring in bigger vessels, more jobs for the people of Terrebonne Parish, and it's more for the industry, more for commerce. And 5 feet is a lot. It's the difference between a vessel coming to do the work in Terrebonne and going to another port.
Yeah. And look, the BC ratio for the deepening is 5 to 1. The BC ratio for the Maganza to the Gulf is 1.5 to 1. So it's a huge benefit to our economy. Huge benefit once we deepen it.
Yeah. Mitch Mormon, right back. Come see Mitch. Get you in here while we're rolling.
I'm holding the door.
Yeah, that's all right. I know you being a gentleman, but your thoughts on today, because this is just once again proof that when the people of Terrebonne Parish tax themselves, we took it pretty seriously.
Yeah, I mean, it's just amazing. I just ran into somebody that I started working on this project with 20 years ago that works for Restore Council, and it just kind of gives you some perspective of how long we've actually been trying to get this done. And really until Gordy got where he was and we had the right people in place were we able to get the money and the funding that we needed to do this. So
we all had black hair when all this started.
I was in my 20s, and now I'm not going to say how old I am, but yeah, it's just amazing and wonderful. It's a dream, something I never thought we'd see. So just an honor to be here today and to celebrate with everybody. And I think somebody said it earlier, it's not done yet, so my job is to make sure it gets constructed, so that's definitely on my mind. So.
The three of the bricklayers here, like we talked about, laying the brick, 3 of them here. Just a great day in Terrebonne Parish, and we're going to keep reporting. As long as they keep building, we're going to keep reporting, and I hope it's not too long from now when we keep reporting, but as long as they're building things of this nature, we'll be bringing it to you.
We're here once again in Cocodrie, reporting to you for Tri-Parish News.
For over 40 years, I, along with my team, have had the distinct pleasure of archiving special events and special people in our area. When I was a young reporter, I never realized how important those seemingly routine interviews would become. And as we have made our journey through the television industry, the most important memories to us have been captured through the lens of a camera and a microphone. We just want to say thank you. Thank you to all of those who have given us our start and continue to support us 40 years into our great journey. When you signed on back then and still today, you are helping preserve the precious moments that will be archived for future generations. It's been a joy, and we thank you here at HTV. HTV, preserving the past and moving into the future.